Okay, in today's video, we are going to cover how to generate leads on Facebook. There's two main ways that I do it that I'm going to share with you that I can do regularly to make money from our campaigns. Make money after expenses, after our ad costs, all that good stuff. Real profit at the end of the day. So if you haven't run lead generation campaigns on Facebook before, there's two main factors that, if you've been doing this for a while, there's two main factors that you'll know that decide whether or not you're going to be profitable or not. One of which is, of course, your sales process, if you can close leads. But as far as how the leads are generated, it's how well it's targeted. Do you have basically an audience which you're targeting 1% or more of which could or should buy your product? So you're not so untargeted so that the cost of running the ads goes up and up and up per click and per user that you're unprofitable. And then the other end is what your offer is in terms of that, is you're using to entice people to click through at a high enough rate, again, to make sure that your cost per click remains low and your cost per lead remains low enough to make money. So I'm going to cover the more misunderstood part of that equation than anything, which is the offer. A lot of people don't realize that they can do more than just say, hey, in order to speak to a salesperson, enter your information. In reality, this is less than the total campaigns that make money on Facebook that people are running as far as an offer is concerned. And you can offer things such as a quiz, run contests to generate leads. There's all kinds of outside the box things that you could do that could work, whereas if you did not do it and you went after people who are just ready to talk to a salesperson, it would not work. And I'm going to give examples of that. I'm going to give examples of where we ran campaigns for the contests and stuff, and then also for campaigns to generate leads for people looking for a consult from a salesperson, respectively, about the equivalent thereof. But there's definitely a bunch of different ways that you can have an offer in a Facebook ad that's fundamentally different than anything else, which could be restructured. One product could have multiple different ways you have an offer set up to actually capture the information. It's about capturing the information, and basically the lead could be more or less qualified based upon what you're offering to them, but having a less qualified lead but having more of them can be profitable if you have the right sales process set up afterwards, which I'm going to talk about also in this video, how this works and how other people are doing it, especially people that sell leads. You could, if you're people in the insurance space, so on and so forth, that sell leads, they're doing a little bit of the whole to have a gimmick. They're not looking for people ready to buy insurance today, because that's not how it's sold. They're offering them some outstanding piece of need to know information that they enter their information for. They sell those leads, and that's how that whole industry works. And a lot of other industries are like that. So anyway, I'm going to give 8 different examples of different companies and what offers that they used when I've ran the campaigns for them. And then so with that, you should be able to pull from this video after you're done watching it, a campaign that will be able to work for you if you haven't been able to make your campaigns work for yourself yet as well here. So anyway, I'm going to get into it. Now, first thing you got to know, and before I should say I get into it specifically about what strategies that you can use to create different offers and with the targeting along with that, how to make money from these campaigns. This will actually work if you sell a product for more than $300. If you sell a product for more than $300 respectively, you're going to need to generate a lead for that anyway. They're not going to check out and buy a product for $1,000 without talking to somebody. So respectively, you can use Google or Facebook to generate sales for that product. And then of course, for any kind of service, B2B, B2C, doesn't matter. You can use these strategies here, at least one of them that you feel most applies to you here to sell that service. And then ultimately, you'll decide after watching this video what you think you want to try first, but you could certainly try multiple things. And I recommend trying multiple things, because a lot of times I've tried something, changes the offer a little bit, now it works. I'm going to give an exact story of that for a garage beautification product where we've done this exact same thing before. So anyway, with all that said, so the first thing that I'm going to get into is to say that, so there are 4 examples here where you're going to look to have more leads that are less qualified coming in, and we're going to try to make money that way. And there's 4 examples here where we're looking for a more qualified lead, but less of them, i.e. more expensive leads. And we'll see if we can make money that way. And examples where I made money doing it both ways here, so you can decide what works for yourself. So the first kind of category where we're generating less qualified leads, there's 3 different types of offers here that I have to work from that I'll give you here. One of which where we're running a contest to generate leads, form fills. One of which that we're doing people looking for new information that's not seen anywhere else, new hot information. And then one where we're running a quiz campaign where that can generate leads. And so, yes, we need quite a few of these leads to do stuff like this, but I can tell you for sure, I've done this several times and it does work. So I'm going to get into some of these different examples where this has worked in the past. You can decide again if this is for you, but or going a slightly different direction where you're talking to less people and see if you can make money that way or prefer to do it that way. The first example I'm going to give is for a company that offered a disability tax credit. It was a company out of Canada. They work with people to disabled to get a special tax credit that applies to them, and they ran leads for people who are looking to get the tax credit, and that was like $40 a lead. Now I came up with the idea of having the disability check showing up as the ad and just saying new disability tax credit, and that generated a cost per lead of $3, of which 1 in 15 of those were closing. Enough of them were closing that it was way more profitable than dealing with people who wanted to talk to a tax credit specialist, which seems boring. So that gives you a really good example of the first way that offering new hot information can work for your company, for what you're doing. For this new info category, one other way that I ran a campaign on Facebook was when we had a garage product that basically it was an expense. I can't give the exact products. It would give away what the person's campaign information, but basically it was a high-end, thousands of dollars, $1,000+ product each to put in your garage. And we were targeting with this DIY types. So instead of trying to ask people if they want to talk to a salesperson or interested in the product, we offered them information on how this is actually put into your garage and how much it costs. With that, we generated leads and we were able to close them afterwards. Lead cost was $10 a lead. We were closing 1 in 18 leads, so that campaign was profitable. On the flip side, where we did go back and we said that you want to talk to a salesperson, the lead cost jumped way up. We were paying $78 a lead, and we're only closing 1 in 9. So you can see how this kind of works. You could try different offers. It's not just the targeting that matters. The targeting was the exact same and the same exact product, but when we changed the offer to look like they're talking to a salesperson versus downloading information about how to do this themselves and then calling the leads afterwards, you're talking about a $10 cost per lead to a $78 per lead. And when you factor in what the cost per sale is, you're going from $180 per lead or per sale to over $600 per sale. Okay, so you get the general idea of how you can rethink Facebook ads and what a lot of people out there that really are making a lot of money through generating leads on Facebook are doing. There's another way to run an offer on Facebook is to do a contest ad. We had a water filter product. Basically with that is in this situation, we gave away a water filter. Once we had 100 people who filled out the form, one of them's getting it. A lot of people used to do this for likes, but you can do this for leads too, to where once you get, basically you have that there, they fill out their information to be entered. Once they win, you put on there, of course, who wins to try to and get a testimonial from them if you can. But the other 99 people, you have a sales team calling these people and trying to talk to them about why a water filter actually matters and why you should consider buying it anyway. So in that situation, the leads were super cheap, $4 a lead. They were closing. It took 27 leads to close one But after one contest, you can see you can close about 4 different product sales. So you have to give one away, but you can sell four, and the math works at the end of the day doing that. For a water filter, we're not talking about a $50 water filter. We're talking about $500, $600, $700 water filter, top of the line one. So the math works in that situation where that was profitable. And the next one we have on our list to talk about that generates lesser quality leads but higher volume of leads that you can go for is a quiz ad. In the health insurance space, we offered somebody information to know whether or not they're covered well enough for their insurance, or if they can be insured based upon their health situation as it sits. And they fill out, there's a multi-step quiz, and at the end of it, you had to put your information in order, through a form to be able to get the results. They did that. Cost $8 a lead doing a campaign like this. Closed 1 in 42 leads. Now it took a lot of leads because it's an expensive product. Anytime the higher the cost of your product or service, the less your close rate is going to be. So it all comes down to math, what the cost per sale is, and then what the lifetime value of a customer is. There's lifetime value of a customer in the health insurance space is thousands of dollars. So respectively, if they have to pay $300 a sale, that was totally fine. So it was another outside the box type of way you can run Facebook ads, do lead generation that a lot of people don't think about. In any of these cases, we had to have a sales room tied to the campaign where we have heavy hitting salespeople. As opposed to running Google ads, you need to have salespeople who know what they're doing to sell people this way. Another similar campaign where we did this generally a little bit to where we had less qualified leads. In the drug rehab space, we'll have a free consultation with a drug counselor to talk about your problems. And the same thing, you have to have really good salespeople to talk to them that are also counselors, which is another way to do an outside the box campaign that works for this industry. If you can set up, if you could set up a sales team that's effective. What you're going to have to do if you're going to do this, from what I've seen personally from our clients, you'll have to hire 10 salespeople. 9 of them you're going to have to let go because you're not going to be able to hit your numbers that you need to hit to make the campaign profitable with these kind of leads, which effectively, when you call them, they may not even remember that they filled out the form, okay? You got to talk them through the whole thing. The main thing you're paying for is somebody who is a warm body on the phone, and then the salesperson has to do all the heavy lifting. So if you have a good salesperson, it doesn't matter if you give them 40 people to talk to and this person probably could buy the product, it's enough to make money. So that you got that, it's a whole new problem when you generate leads on Facebook. You got to have the salespeople, but you can obviously make money if you can get the salespeople. You hire 10, you get 1, then you hire 10 more and you got 2. Pretty soon you have 10 of them. This whole engine works, and it works in a big way. You can run generalized ads for, just targets basically everybody. We narrow it down to certain sub-demographics, but for the disability tax credit, the health insurance company, the water filter company, we're targeting pretty much everybody because we know at least 1% of the general public can buy the product, and they can generate dozens of sales a day respectively from that process if you got the sales process set up right. For the garage product, we're targeting a DIY audience, but that's millions of people as well. So the same thing, there's a lot of volume there. So it's worth it to get the sales team set up if you know how to set up a sales team and manage it correctly. One thing I'll say is a lot of people, even though these campaigns work, it's been a while since they've done these. Some of these people still do it, some of them don't. But more people are going to Google all the time because people don't answer the phone. So even if you they give you their cell phone number, when you call them, they may not answer. They got caller ID. So what you can do as a tip here is you can have the phone number shoot directly to the CRM and directly into your call system. So when a lead comes in, they can call within like 30 minutes. That's one of the ways that you're going to make this work too, by the way. So I recommend that as well. Anyway, that's the whole kind of general idea, thing there. I'm going to get into now how there's some different offers that you could run that are going to generate more qualified leads, which means you have to talk to less of them, but may or may not be the right fit based upon how much the cost per lead and the close rates on those leads were. So There's 3 other different categories here to generate a more qualified lead on Facebook that I've seen works, and then I'll give the examples afterwards. First one is, how not to get ripped off. So in this situation, it's, to give you our first example, it was for a funeral home. We targeted people that were within a certain 1 mile radius of hospices, where you go basically before you die. And you said, we had an ebook, How Not to Get Ripped Off by a Funeral Home. And then they downloaded that, and at the end of the ebook, it says, in the ebook, it basically tells them, if you're going to deal with anybody in this local area of Chicago, you deal with us because we're the cheapest. That's just how it is. If you have any questions, now that you've read the ebook, you can call me, funeral director, John Smith, and here's my phone number. You'll get some leads that way, and then you'll also get sales opportunities when you take the phone number and you just start straight calling people. So pretty much you have to do both if you're going to make this work. But from both of those sources of leads that you'll get from an ebook like that, How Not to Get Ripped Off by Product, we were generating $31 a lead in the funeral space with a 1 in 5 close rate. So that was profitable for us to do. How Not to Get Ripped Off generates a qualified lead, even though it's just information they're downloading, because you can always just insert your product there. How Not to Get Ripped Off by bowling suppliers. How Not to Get Ripped Off by, you could be, clothing companies. Or, you could think of a way to negatively spin what, if you're in business because you thought you could do it better. Well, just say why you're better in that information. Anyway, you get the general idea here. You can also do a phone consult. So we talked about the garage product already, how I mentioned it was $78 a lead, by the way, to generate somebody who wanted to talk to a garage beautification expert, which is slang for just a salesperson. And then because they were $78 a lead versus $10 a lead before, when they were just downloading information on how to do it themselves and how it was possible to do it themselves, it didn't work. But you can then also generate, the other way to go about doing this in general is you offer a free consultation. It could be a phone consultation or a in-home consultation or a digital consultation, which I'll explain here in a moment. But a campaign where we did a free phone consultation where that worked well was in the personal injury space. What we did was we got the mobile user information of people that were within a certain distance of a helipad. So if you were by a helipad, 1% or more chance that you probably were in an car accident recently where you had a major injury where you actually need personal injury lawyer at some point in time in the near future. So you can go to data brokers and get this kind of information, mobile IDs or phone numbers tied to that kind of event data. Just look up data brokers and then you can find that information, but you could upload that to Facebook. Now you got it narrowed down to a small enough size where when you have a free consult ad, it will work. But more so than that, when you go ahead and do that, you don't just say, I'm a personal injury lawyer, hire me. You narrow it down, and because if you're on a helipad, you're more likely to have a worse injury, like a head or spine injury, and you can have an ad that says, we're a personal injury lawyer with head and spine as our specialty, and generate leads that way and get an even lower lead cost, and also at the same time a higher profit because the head and spine injuries there's a lot of cases that are in 7-figure territory versus 5. And so you have less people to talk to, and you're making more money each time. In that case, we ran that ad, $294 per lead, and closed 1 in 7 of the leads. So it was $1,000, $1,500 a closed case, but they're making, $10,000 an average case. To $10,000 to $50,000, massively profitable already. So with all that said, you can also do a free home consult. So we had a situation where the same funeral home I worked with before, they also did funeral planning. So in the funeral home example, we're trying to generate leads to come in and make sure they deal with our funeral home, since they are going to be dealing with the funeral home soon, in the near future, for their loved one, and seeing this ad while they're in the hospice with their loved one, offering them the ebook, How Not to Get Ripped Off. We also had the free home consult ad for people that were like 65 plus, that's it, and offering them an in-home consultation for free where we'll go to you and explain how funeral planning works and what your options are. Since that's the general older people are the one that, they don't want to think about a funeral, but they're the people that are more so apt to buy it, and they don't want to go out. So it was an interesting spin on having a phone call, which they less preferred in general, and which makes sense, right? And so when we made that offer to people, with that kind of targeting, it was $45 a lead from that, and we closed 1 in 6 leads. So that campaign was profitable as well. Everything is profitable except for this garage product, as I mentioned here already, where we offer to have that person talk to a garage beautification expert. I talked about that, but it was profitable when we offered them the information on how this product's installed and how much it costs to install it. And then work the lead that way, calling them up randomly. Hey Joe, how is it going? I know you're interested in this particular product and doing it. What kind of car do you have? That kind of thing. And then you just get the conversation going like that. But anyway, that's the deal there. As far as this free home consult, it's a very effective manner of doing things. After COVID, a lot of our clients started using a digital-only consultation where you can say face-to-face video consultation where you offer that consultation, not the phone. I've had people selling roofs through a digital consultation, home contractors, and you'd be surprised how much a difference that will make on your cost per lead versus just saying, call us or have a free phone consultation. Even if it was a lawyer, I'd be doing the same thing, was have a face-to-face on Zoom. And so you get the general idea there, something to really seriously consider as a side note to this whole thing. But anyway, like I said, these are all profitable campaigns versus the one, and I explain why. So you should test. Me personally, I'm going to test my targeting, but once I know my targeting's right, I'm going to test the different offers. And I'm going to see what offer works the best. And if you don't find one that works, I'm just going to try another one. You probably, out of just what I gave you here, you should find something that works already. When you have a more qualified lead, and you're not dealing with people who basically are just over cold, if you will, respectively, you still need salespeople to close those leads, like for the funeral home leads where they're downloading the ebook to send the leads to make this campaign work and get a 1 out of 5 close rate effectively. But it's not the superstar salesperson, which you need generally up with these campaigns, and you have to look harder, a lot harder to find it. And really 1 out of 10 people really can do it. That said, one thing we found out with the let's just call it mediocre salespeople, so you don't have to go through and hire 10 to find one. You can more so hire 10 and work with most of them. 20% of your top ones will still make 80% of your sales. So technically you could do that churn and burn thing there, but you don't have to, and still could make these numbers here. This applied for the funeral home, and for the personal injury lawyer and the funeral planning campaigns, regular reps will work fine. So the lead is qualified enough there where they could just talk to a lawyer. That lawyer's not a salesperson by trade. That's not their job title. The funeral planning person was just a coordinator at the funeral home. So the same thing. So whereas you need people it doesn't matter if they're selling your stuff or somebody else's, they're a salesperson to make stuff like this that I described here above. And then if they're downloading an ebook, they're probably still needed to be a salesperson, but they don't have to be the super, vulture. Well, I don't want to use vulture, the superstar salesperson like I described. So, and the garage product company, as a final kind of word about all of this, even though so I mentioned that a lot of people are going away from Facebook ads because they can't get people on the phone, and there's a lot of filters on phones now. It's hard to get through. Even though you can mitigate some of that because 10 years ago, Facebook was more profitable than Google. Now, Google's more profitable because it's, like I said, you have to have a really good salesperson to make this work, and that's its own problem to deal with. But it's just less headache when somebody's looking for that garage product already looking to buy. Instead of needing 10 salespeople, you need 1 or maybe 2 to do the same sales volume and have just as much ROI or more at the end of the day. And so this person who sold this garage product just stopped doing Facebook ads, just killed the whole sales room several years back, and we're doing it for many years before that, back 2010 in that general time frame. And They just now sell on Google, and respectively, that's, you always have to figure or guess where am I better off at, search engine advertising or Facebook ads, because those are the two big behemoths to decide. I personally, because I know what I'm doing, I'm probably doing both for the client, given that I'm not the one that has to manage the sales team. But maybe you don't want to manage the sales team. Maybe you do. If you don't want to manage people, use the Google Ads. Google Ads is obviously its own monster. You have to know how to do super segmentation and write lots of ads and really good landing pages that really are effective, versus a landing page for this. You just have super simple lead submit page. You're going to have to pick your own poison here. But anyway, hopefully that made sense. Hope you enjoyed the video. I have a ton of other money-making PPC strategy videos on this channel. If you like those kind of videos, you should check them out. I also have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, where I have step-by-step information on how to build campaigns that guarantee results for our clients. If you want to see how stuff is done that way, we have it there as well. But if you have any questions or comments about any Facebook lead generation campaigns you're trying to run, leave a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel within a day or two. And apart from that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you go out and try this for yourself, and so you can see what I've been seeing when we